Hello everyone, welcome back to SkateProud chat. Today is a very exciting day. We're gonna be chatting with Cordero Zuckerman, figure skater, showman, drag queen and eyes. He is everything, and I'm so excited because we're gonna learn so much. And I think I see him already, so I'm gonna invite him. And and yeah, welcome back. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, how are you? Thank
Not
you for
bad.
having me.
Of course, welcome. I'm excited. So
Me
excited for
too.
today. Yeah.
Me too. I know you can see I'm here in my drag room. Sorry, I'm gonna try and make
Oh
sure that this
yeah?
doesn't move.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
Yeah. Okay. Well, here we go. Hold on. There we
Sure.
go. That's
Yeah.
better.
So you are right now in Chicago?
I am in Chicago. This is where I live. I love it
Nice.
here. The Windy City.
So, you're a figure skater. You competed for the US. You've done so many skating shows.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, you coach, choreograph in Chicago.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
I
yeah.
Yeah, I coach and choreograph here. There's about 80 rinks in the greater like Chicago district, so there's so
Wow.
many just places to go and people to work with. There's a great network of people here and I'm really happy to have gotten involved with. Yeah, for sure.
That's cool. Yeah.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, you're very famous for your videos.
LOL.
They went viral like the ice dance one with all the the typical dances that you were like recreating kind of
Uh-huh.
like
Oh my
but it
God.
was so much fun and it went viral. Yeah. How did you come up with this idea?
Honestly, now that I got into the swing of coaching here in Chicago, I'm just on the ice every day, all the time. There's a really big ice dancing scene here as well, and every day there's somebody that puts on the ice dance music, and whether I'm coaching or skating for myself, you know, we just hear those songs all the time, and for all the years that those songs have been the same, I just thought it was like so funny that like USFSA or the
Doesn't change.
ISU like it hasn't changed at all, and so I just decided to make a dumb video of me dancing to it because like even when like me and my friends used to train together and stuff, whenever ice dance music came on, we would just like vibe out to each other and be like,
Yeah.
oh, oh, kill it, oh my god, here's the cha cha, let's go, like just to be stupid. So it was really just me being me and me being bored.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that people liked it. I think it was just relatable because like everyone our age or younger is probably just like, ugh, they're just like so sick of these songs. Um, but yeah, it was just me being bored. I had like 15
No,
minutes in between lessons, and I
it's
was
so
like,
much fun. But you
let me
also
make
have
this.
so many other videos that, because I've been following you for, I don't know, a few years at least. And this one from the bad guy, it was
Mm,
so cool. I love this one.
thank you.
And it's kind of like really interesting, no? It's kind of like little clips. Um, you try to choose a song that just came out
Hmm.
and you make a kind of like really like a scene and a theme out of it, and it's pretty cool. That one is like amazing because I don't know,
Thank
you get
you.
in like a dark,
Oh
like
yeah, I love like dark. My favorite type of music choreographically is anything that's dark and has kind of electronic
yeah,
influence in it and stuff like that.
yeah,
So she's one of my favorites, and she'll
yeah,
always kind of touch on that. Yeah, and that one, I think that one we did with On Ice Perspectives. I went to New York
yeah. I
um,
saw that.
for like a weekend, and we just like played around and filmed, and
That's so cool.
it
Yeah,
was really cool. Yeah, it was really fun.
yeah. I think your videos are very special and unique
Thank you.
and also fun. And
Yeah.
so yeah, I recommend everyone to go and follow you and watch because it's
Oh,
pretty cool. Yeah.
thank you.
So talking about your skating, and so what's your background? Where, as a skater, where you come from,
Hmm.
and how do you end up where you are right now?
Sure, yeah. So I grew up in Alaska. We There was not very much in Alaska in general, especially with sports and skating, but at least it's somewhat of a winter sport kind of area and state. And Alaska itself, like probably I mean, my city only had like three rinks, but it was growing up in Alaska. It's kind of one of those small town ideas where you either get involved in an activity or you get in trouble because there's nothing else to do. Like it's just one of those towns where you can get
Yeah.
really bored really easily. And so my parents were really, really good about putting all of us in athletics. And it was either martial arts, figure skating, cross country skiing, or, like running or something like that. And I was like, none of these sound interesting except for figure skating. Because
Yeah.
my sister was my older sister was a figure skater. She was a
Okay.
beautiful ice dancer, and I wanted to be just like her, and so I would like skate around the house all the time, and
That's
my
cool.
my mom was like, I think we should put him in this, and so I started when I was 5, and I had a talent for it. I wasn't like the next best thing, but like I had a talent for it, and at least in Alaska I was one of the better skaters, and so um, there was a time when it became, I had to make a decision, and I was 13 or 14, and I was like, I really love skating and I want to pursue this a little more seriously. And
Mhm.
so we decided to, my coach that was in Alaska, her name was Lisa Criley. She moved to Salt Lake City and she started training in at the Steiner Aquatic Center, which is where like Nathan Chen comes from and Angela Wang, some
Yeah.
really great skaters. So she moved there, and I just followed her. I was like, I want to go further in skating, and so I moved down to Salt Lake when I was 15, and
Yeah, very young. Yeah.
I was really young, and I lived with a host family, and I lived with them for about a year, and then I lived on my own from like 17 to until I left Utah. But then I got more serious about my training. I stayed in Salt Lake and I trained under that program. I went to the University of Utah, which was right across the street from the rink. I did half days of high school. Like everything was to skate and to train, and all I did was skate. And I
Yeah.
improved. I improved a lot in that time. I medaled at junior nationals in like 2000. I don't remember what it was, 2010 maybe. It was me, Nathan, Emmanuel Savory, and somebody else. I don't remember the other one, but it was exciting because I was seeing results and I was excited.
Yeah.
Um, but I was already a bit older. Like 15 and 16 is already a little bit like old for junior nationals and for that. So, Nathan was like 9 and like all these other kids were a lot younger.
Yeah.
So I knew like, okay, I'm excited that I'm improving and that I'm medaling and doing all this stuff, but I can tell that like my expiration date on skating is coming soon, or things like that, or just a lot of different things happened while I was in Utah, and I started to open up my eyes to other options. But I finished college, and then there's a really big show skating community in Salt Lake City as well. You have Stephanie Grosscup, who is a great choreographer for a lot of great shows, and she kind of recruits a lot of show skaters. So you have Aaron Reed and Willie Michael and Scott Smith and Danielle Endo and just like a lot of great skaters from the Utah area. And I just kind of followed suit. I was like, well, I don't really want to compete anymore. And I finished college and I just worked my entire life to have this amazing skill,
Yeah.
and, spent thousands of dollars. So why throw it away? And so I was like, well, maybe I'll just try a show. I'll just try 1 year of shows or something like that.
Yeah.
And then I went to cruise ships first. I did my first contract on the Allure of the Seas. It was the biggest ship at the time, and I was 21, and I was super scared and new, and I just like didn't know anything, and I was like, let's try it, and I fell in love with it. I fell in love with the show life. I fell in love with traveling. I fell in love with like just the lifestyle, and so I did ships for about 5 years, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, a long
That
time.
is crazy.
It is crazy. It is
5 years
insane.
ships shows. Yeah.
Yeah, five years of ships, and I would do small things in between. I would go and work
Yeah.
with like
But the
smaller
contracts are
producers.
pretty long.
They
5 years.
are. They're about
Yes.
six
Yeah.
to 8 months each time.
Yeah.
So I did that. I did about 4.5 contracts, and made a lot of friends, met a lot of people. And it's great when you're like 21 and fresh and just like young, but consecutively the lifestyle gets really, really difficult, as you would probably know. Like, you're living on a ship and you don't have a lot of internet access, and you're exposed to the same people every day and the same schedule. You live out of a suitcase, you live in a really small little like
You don't
closet
have that
space.
stability
No,
that
there's
maybe when you become older, that's what you're looking for, probably, right?
absolutely, that stability was not there. Your life is very fleeting. It's just go, go, go,
I
go,
mean,
go,
it's
go,
an
go.
amazing experience, probably traveling so many places. And like, yeah, it's so unique,
Oh,
but
I mean, I saw the world. I
yeah,
went to Spain. I went
yeah,
to, everywhere. I saw the world, and it was fantastic when you're young. But after a while, I was like, I feel like the world is bigger than this, and I want to explore more. It's kind of a consistent theme in my life. Every five
yeah.
to
You
six
need a change.
years,
Yeah,
I'm like, okay, there's got to
yeah,
be more than this. So it happened with my skating. It happened with ships. It happened with a lot of different things. So, and it happened even now with me moving to Chicago. So I did ships and I stopped and I was like, okay, I'm 25 now. I think I want to explore other things. I had a good first set of my like early 20s. So let me go explore different things. And I plan on moving to Chicago. And then at that time is when Cirque du Soleil announced that they were going to do an ice show. And it was always a dream of mine. I was like, oh my God, like finally they've decided to collaborate. So let's try. Let's just make a
yeah,
video and see what happens. And of course, I got the show. The only downside of it was that that contract was 2 years. You had to be contracted for 2 years. So the ships, they were 8 months. You could still enjoy part of your year, but Cirque was 2 whole years, and we'd only get like 2 weeks off every 4 months or something like that. Like, it was crazy. So it was really intense. We did like the whole creation process in Montreal, and that's where I met you.
yeah.
Um,
It's true.
and then we debuted and we did the show, and I did it for a few months. Um, Obviously, it didn't really turn out how I wanted it to. I was really in a dark place at that time. I really wanted to be off of shows and off of touring, and I was just not happy. I was really unhappy, and I was doing a lot of reckless things because I was unhappy. Um, and so when that contract finished, I was like, all right, I gotta really like center myself and realize like what is important to me.
Hmm.
And I realized that as an artist, like at age 26 as an artist, what I wanted in my life was to kind of be the creator and sole kind of owner of my
Of
art
your
and
life, yeah.
of my life, yeah, and of my life too. Like, I felt like doing ships and doing shows was so much fun in my young 20s, but there was always this sense of like, it's not mine. You have to be part of Cirque du Soleil or part of Royal Caribbean. You are like one tiny little person in this big amoeba, and I wanted to own the whole thing. Like, I wanted to be the artist and the owner. And so after I finished ships, I really like thought, I was like, what is it that you want to do with your art? What do you personally feel like you want to do? And as silly as it sounded, I was like, I just kind of want to do choreography, and I want to make videos, and I want to do drag, and I want to do my own things. I just want to kind of feel like they're mine and not
Yeah,
somebody else's. And I realized how important that was once I started doing it, because it was so much more fulfilling. It was so much more um, exhilarating and exciting. And now I've been in Chicago for 2 years, and I've built my own schedule. I built my own clients. I have this budding cross-dressing career that
which we're
is,
gonna talk about.
which we're going to talk about, which is really fun and exciting. And I'm really proud of how much I've accomplished in a short amount of time. And the community here is amazing. I love the drag
Yeah,
community in Chicago. They're so,
I gotta go. I gotta
um,
come over.
oh, you have to. You have to come to a show. I've had a lot of skaters come in and watch shows and stuff like that. It's been really
Yeah,
fun.
that
Yeah.
has to be so much fun.
Hmm.
Yeah, well, so
Sorry, I just told you my entire
no,
life
of
story.
course,
Oh my
it's
God.
it's quite interesting. I feel everybody has a different story. I think what it would be cool if you want to share with us is like coming from such a little town,
Mm-hmm.
very remote part of the world, which is
Mm-hmm.
Alaska.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, how was this your story of accepting yourself being gay,
Mm-hmm.
or however you consider part of the LGBTQ plus community, and coming out to your family, and
Mm-hmm.
how was the people? Because of course, figure skating, like everyone's story, whether you're gay or not, uh, is stigmatized, and people suffer discrimination for that. So
Mm-hmm.
it is everyone, each of us, we've had probably a difficult period. So I would like to
Mm-hmm.
hear what was a bit your struggles with that.
Absolutely. Well, growing up in Alaska, obviously it's a small town, but more so, I grew up. I'm Mexican, and I grew up in a Mexican household. My mother's Mexican, my father's white, and she really is a strong, very, very pious Christian woman, and we grew up with Christian ideals around us and in our house. And obviously, as you may know, in the Bible, it says that homosexuality is a sin, and so growing up with that constantly pushed into my mind was really hard because I was such a people pleaser. I really wanted my parents, I just wanted to make them proud, and I just wanted them to love me and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so I listened to a lot of that commentary for a long time. And as I was kind of coming into my sexuality, I was like 13 and 14, I really started to question if like truly it was wrong to be a homosexual. And I like I looked into Bible verses and talked with therapists and did everything that I could to kind of understand it, but it was still just always the same answer in my house, like it's a sin, it's an abomination, you're going to go to hell, all of these things.
And
And
this was
so
happening when you were young, like you were
yeah,
still.
I was still skating. I was 14. I was
Yeah.
just about to move to Utah.
Yeah.
And so it was really difficult for me. And then I moved to Utah. And surprisingly, Utah, of all places, became more accepting of kind of just helping me understand myself and helping me understand um, that it maybe wasn't wrong. And I lived with this Mormon host family. They were Mormon.
Wow.
And there was the mother of that house. She saw how much I was struggling with my sexuality. She knew. Everybody knew. I was not hiding anything, girl. Um, and she there was this time I was 17 and I was really, really ready for nationals. I was really ready for everything. I had worked so hard. I had all my triples. I was ready to slay. It was like novice. I was like excited to do really well. Um, and I made the dumb decision to go to a concert the night before I was training, like a week and a half before, I know, like a week and a half before I was supposed to leave for nationals, which was so stupid. And then the next morning, I was really tired, obviously, for skating. And I popped a triple toe and I rolled over my ankle and I tore 3 ligaments in my ankle and I had to pull out of nationals. It was like devastating. It was awful. It was the worst time in my career. And it was basically what kind of changed the direction of my career. But um, I remember talking to my mother about it, and I remember her saying, I'm so sorry this happened to you, but it happened because you came out and because you didn't have the protection of God around you anymore. And that allowed these bad things to happen.
Oof.
Yeah. So for her to connect those two things in my life, me being gay and basically the ending of my skating career, um, it threw me into like a depression and it just made me spiral. It was awful. But the host mother that I was living with, she had heard that my mom said that, and she was so mad. And she like sat me down in her house and was like, I just want you to know, I'm obviously Mormon. We have our own ideas and things like that. But I want you to know that this did not happen in your career because you came out of the closet,
Yeah.
that you being a gay person was not a choice, that you are going to be able to live a happy and beautiful life with a husband one day or a wife or whoever you choose to be with, and that all of the good and bad things that happen in your life are never going to correlate to your sexuality and who
That
you are.
is
And
so beautiful.
it was so important. I don't even think she realizes how important that moment was. I think I've told her. I'm pretty sure she remembers that, and I think I've told her that. Um, but I do want to like go back and really make sure that like she knows how like important and meaningful that was for me because it really changed the direction of my life and things
Totally.
like that. Anyways,
Otherwise, guilting yourself. Oh my god, the connection again. Mhm. Okay, let's see if we can reconnect. Okay.
I'm back. Can you hear me?
Hi. Yeah. I don't
It's
know if
okay.
it's my internet. It's just that I had a few problems too. So
That's okay.
yeah.
You're in Toronto right now, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, nice. My
So
bad.
that is, well, it's so touching and it's crazy to think about that.
I know. I
You
know.
had the yeah. Otherwise, if it wasn't because of her words, you would have been um, guilting yourself, and
It would have. It
it
would
will
have been.
drown
Yeah.
you.
Hmm.
Yeah, because you don't know at that point, and you are
I
like
was just so
devastated.
young.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was so young, and all my life I'd been told that I was wrong and disgusting and an abomination and going to hell for something that I literally couldn't control. It was just part of my anatomy, and I was so frustrated, and I wanted it gone. I wanted it gone for so bad, and up until that point, I just denied it. I was like, I dated women, and I tried really hard to have girlfriends, and I tried to be normal, and I tried to pray the gay away. I went to conversion therapy. I did
You
all of this
went to
stuff.
conversion therapy.
I went to
Did
therapy
you went
and
yourself in person?
no, well, yes, I chose it with my mom. We were like, let's try something. Let's go to therapy. Let's see if this will help. And I went, and another part that was really kind of like a saving grace of mine is I went to this therapist, and he was in Utah, and he was like from day one, he like sat me down. He was like, I know why you're here, and I know that you must be really confused and scared right now, but I want you to know that this is not going to be a space for me to condemn you, and it's not going to be a space for me to try and change your sexuality. He was like, I just want you to use this as a safe space to just kind of throw up your feelings on me, and we're going to go from there. And it actually was kind of this secret space that I got to just share all of my feelings with him without him trying to
Yeah.
convert me. So it was really cool. It wasn't conversion therapy at all. It was almost like this secret, um, like pro LGBTQ therapist that
That they
like
were. Oh
that
wow.
just happened to work in the church, and it was I also don't remember his name because I was like 16, but like it was also one of those moments where I was like, wait, this is like a monumental part of my growth in
So
like
you
being a queer
basically
person.
were lucky with that because
I know.
it's not the usual with a conversion therapy. It's like if you're ready or struggling with your family. Normally that happens when your family does not accept you or there is a lot of religion involved and um, they think they can change who you are and
Hmm.
because yeah, as you said, oh my god, I
Isn't
don't
that
know.
crazy?
I
So
can
like
because
the
I've been so lucky with my family in a way that there is no religion involved. That it also they've been very open minded. That when I hear these stories, it is shocking for me. It
mm,
is, and it still happens nowadays. Like you're so like, how old are you right now? You're like
I'm
18.
28.
Yeah, and it's just like unbelievable.
I know.
I'm sorry that happens, but how is the situation? How let's say nowadays you've accepted yourself, you got
Hmm.
over that part of your life,
Hmm.
did it improve also with your family situation
Hmm.
and
Yeah, I can tell you about all of that.
something positive out of all this? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, after I was in Utah, I finally got to think for myself, and I finally was like, I'm out of my family's household, and maybe I can just have my own independent thoughts. I don't have to please them anymore. I started to date men. I started to explore my sexuality, and I really realized that like this is who I was. And then when I went to cruise ships, okay, so the show life, as you know, it's just wild. Like nobody really cares about anything. It's very far left. So that's when I really kind of flourished into my sexuality and like just blossomed and kind of just explored all different things. And that's when I felt like really most comfortable in my sexuality. I was still dealing with like my own self image and validation through dating people and things like that. That was just, you know, normal kind of early 20s things
Yeah.
to figure out. But I still did that, and it was great. And it has been such a process because when I did come out when I was 17, I have my dad and my brother on this side, and my mom and my sister on this side. My dad and my brother were super, super, super liberal. They don't care.
Oh yeah.
My dad, his brother is also queer. My
Oh.
brother is he's a he's an artist. He does film. He's an actor. He's a writer. He's from LA, and he's just very open minded with a lot of different things. His girlfriend is bisexual. Like, you know, he just doesn't care. So when I told them, they were like, "Great, the sky is blue. Awesome. Okay." And then,
That is amazing.
right, my sister, she's a pastor, and my mother is very religious. So on this end of it, when I told them, they were a little more like, well, okay, you know, my mom, she started crying. She was like, "Oh, your soul, you're not gonna be able to go to heaven and things like this." And
And you
it
say,
was,
I'm already in heaven.
I was like, "Bitch." Yeah, no, I was really devastated from that. But it took
Yeah,
her
it's
about five
hard.
years to see that I was just happy and that like it didn't really matter. And she did come back to me during a show one time. I invited her down to the show, and she like sat me down. She was like, "I just want you to know, like, I've kind of had a change of thought, and I see that you're happy, and that like I just want you to meet somebody who's great, and um, just I just want you to be happy." And so that was a big turning point for me. Granted, I didn't help the situation with her because I brought home just a lot of idiots, a lot of like she just wanted me to be safe and with someone that loved me.
Yeah.
And I brought home a lot of boys that weren't like that. So it wasn't really helping the situation.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until I met Alex, who's like right over there on the other side of the wall. He's not in here, but like
Okay.
he, we obviously live together here in Chicago, and we've been dating for 3 years now. It wasn't until I met Alex that she was really like, okay, now I get it. Like,
Now I get it. This is also you can have also a partner and maybe get married. Like I think
she was,
that's what when she realized, no?
yes, she just saw the love. She just saw love, and she just saw support. She saw a boy that loves me and supports me and lifts me up and helps me and takes care of me
I think
and
that's very
everything like that.
important. Yeah, that helps you too probably as well.
Yeah, just to see somebody, you know, that like really loves your son or your family, like
Hmm.
that is it was what really changed my mom's mind. She was just like, I love him. I want nothing more for you than for you to be happy with him. So I'm
Yeah.
happy, you're happy. My sister as well. She hasn't exclusively said that, but she's also been like, you guys are great together. I really like him. You know, just she's really come around as well, and I'm really proud of both of them. We still don't talk about it explicitly, but
Yeah. Wow.
they love Alex and they accept him, and that's all I could ask for. Hmm.
It is kind of like interesting. I will normally think the standard is that the with the parents, the father is normally the one that is more conservative,
Hmm.
more I mean into hockey or into
Or
soccer in
wanting a more
Europe.
masculine
Yeah,
son
and
kind of
be like,
thing. Yeah.
oh, my son cannot do figure skating because blah blah. And of course, here's the tables turned, and is your dad more
Hmm.
liberal, and it's kind of interesting. Yeah.
Isn't it? Like most things have been kind of opposite in my life.
Yeah.
I mean, the people that helped me accept my sexuality was a Mormon mother and a conversion therapist.
That is crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
But look how in the end they see that you were suffering, and like what's more important, like you throwing your life like down or like actually helping you to, you know?
Hmm. I've struggled with depression a lot, and my sexuality had a lot to do with that. My touring and my job had a lot to do with that. But the first half of my struggle with depression was directly linked to my sexuality, and
Of course.
I was doing a lot of dangerous things during then too because I just hated myself. Like I hated feeling this way. I was told for so long that it was wrong. So um, to not like something that you just can't physically change about yourself, it was really difficult for
Yeah,
me. And the only solution was to love myself. And then, um, from touring and things like that, when things get really overwhelming and I feel like I don't have control over them or I can't change them,
of course.
um, I just sometimes I get really down on myself and I do some really reckless things. That's all. So I'm the
Well,
happiest I've ever been in my life now.
that's very important. Yeah,
I feel very in control of everything, and that's really important for me.
yeah, of course.
But it's life's a journey, and it
It
takes
is
time.
everybody's stories. We have to go through different parts that we struggle in a different way. And of
Hmm.
course, I feel in cases like yours, there is a lot of things involved, like religion and coming from a really small town in a remote part of the
Hmm.
world. And that makes it a little extra hard,
I know.
I will say. But
Yeah.
yeah, right now you've turned around and go over all that. And you've done something that I consider super cool, and I posted yesterday, which is drag on ice. And
Hmm.
so we're gonna talk a little bit about the Nile Fox.
Denali, yeah.
Denali Fox,
It's
sorry.
okay. Denali is where I grew up. It's actually
So
named
I'm
after
gonna try to
Alaskan.
put this for everybody to watch while we talk. I
Oh my
love it.
gosh.
So Denali, tell us about this.
Denali. Okay, yes. So Denali is my drag character. She was created based off of like what I was inspired by growing up in Alaska. It's the name of where I grew up basically, and it means the Great One in like Native Alaskan language. Um,
I love this part, by the way.
Thank you. That dress is very expensive.
I guess.
Yes, I was inspired by Anna Sherbakova and all of these like
I
costume
know. I guess
reveals.
that's where you got it. And so,
Hmm.
where was this show, by the way?
This was in Chicago. It was
Okay.
contacted by a producer that knew that I was a figure skater,
That
and
is so cool.
in the wintertime here in Wrigleyville in my neighborhood, they put up an ice rink, and they were like, "Why don't we do an ice skating show
Yeah.
and gather a bunch of people? And would you like to perform?" And I was like, "In drag? Like that's like my dream. Are you kidding me? I would love to do that." So yeah, we just they hired me for this show, and I did one tiny little number. It wasn't my first time skating in drag. I've tried doing it for a few videos, but they haven't been released yet. I might release them. We'll see how I feel.
Okay.
But the that one I was just really proud of, and things didn't go perfectly smooth. The ice was like awful. I was sliding all around. It was really windy. My dress, when I pull it down like this,
But it looked fun.
uh-huh. When I pull it down like this, you're just supposed to
You
gently pull
almost
it
lose
down.
everything.
I almost like flashed the audience. My collar came out. So there's like two pieces, right? There's like this one, and then there's this one. And so when I pulled this one came out, and it was really bad. I was like, I could have almost like shown a nip slip, but it was fine. And no, it was just something for pride.
Yeah.
And I was just really happy
That
about
I
it.
think is such a great idea. I love it.
Thank you.
Of course. So, how did you like get into drag? Like, I'm curious about it because
Yeah.
I also since I moved to Toronto, I hear there
Toronto
is
has a great
a
drag
big,
scene.
yeah. I
It's
know,
so
and I
good.
love it.
Yeah.
I know I'm friends with a few drag queens too, and
Which
it's so
ones? You
much
have to tell
fun.
me. Tainomi,
So Tainomi,
Priyanka,
Sufonda, Priyanka, yeah, those are the
Safanda.
three ones that I love the most, and
Love.
it's
Great
so much,
taste.
yes, and I love it. I feel it's so much fun,
Hmm.
and how did you? Yeah, of course, like you're pushing your creative side,
Hmm. I
and
mean,
it was the
skating is
first time.
so drag adjacent. Like, people don't realize how like the
Of a
two
show,
go
you say.
together. I mean, yeah, like the show world of it all. Like skating is probably the gayest sport in the world. And
But we
then
gotta break that stereotype. Don't get confused.
oh, for sure. I mean, like
Because
people yeah, go ahead.
okay, no, you go ahead, and then
I
because
just
we
say it
will
like
disagree in
I
this.
just mean it in the sense that like it's for so long it's kind of blended femininity masculinity and it's been such an ambiguous art form that it surprises me that people are like oh my god like finally athletes are coming out and oh my god they're finally speaking out on their sexuality when we've known for a long time that a high percentage of especially male figure skaters in the sport do identify as LGBTQ or gay and whatnot. Like Rudy Galindo, Johnny Weir, all of these icons that were like way before, you know, Adam and these people now that are um, a lot more popular for being out and being figure skaters. Like we kind of, it's just secretly within like the skating community been like a very well known thing. Um, but it's only until now that we're allowed to talk about it. And
Yeah,
I think that that's kind of silly. I think that like we've all known and we've all like I love Adam. I love him so much. Like we're good friends. I think he's an amazing person and so funny. But I do think it's also funny that he's like the first openly gay figure skater in blah 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 when like we've been around and we're here and it's you know like it's part of our history, it's part of our roots, it's part of our history with the AIDS crisis and
yeah,
with everything like as LGBTQ athletes and it's
yeah.
just you know I'm so glad that he's one of the first that gets to use those
That is
voices and like
advocating
is
very
applying it yeah is advocating and things like
forward.
that
Yeah,
but
I
we've
think it's
definitely been
yeah.
here sorry go
No,
ahead
no, I think you have a great point in saying that. Of course, we have a big community, and we have a community within figure skating world, which is um, why I kind of created the SkateProud, but to also to break the stereotypes because I feel we still suffer a lot of discrimination because when we're growing and we're choosing this sport, these stereotypes shouldn't affect that. And I
no
feel there is a lot of problems of education and like we shouldn't like mix things. We shouldn't create. People should not discriminate because of the sexuality because it that is not that true. Also, I've met a lot of international figure skaters and I will not even say that we don't even reach the 50% to be part of the LGBTQ plus community. But what
yeah
happens is that figure skating, I think, because of being an artistic sport, an individual sport, we are more comfortable with our circles to be open about it. And
hmm
also, I think there's a big difference between the competitive, where you're being judged, to the show
hmm
parts that you also leave that second part. Not all the skaters get to live that show life, and I feel that also that would change you a lot more and to be open about it, right?
right
But I feel figure skating still has a long way to go to break the stereotype. It's true. A lot of people is like, oh, but of course you're a figure skater. What is the news about you being gay? But I think that's wrong at the same time
hmm
because that's also making a growing the stereotype. And I
I understand
feel
yeah I know what you mean
one thing is that we are very comfortable and open about it, but at the
hmm
same time, there's many people from the LGBTQ plus community in other sports that because of this stereotype, figure skating you can be gay, but in soccer there is tons, but they
oh I'm
don't.
sure
There is a so it's kind of like a double discrimination for them
yeah
as well because they can't even be open in their circle, which is even
hmm
worse.
it's
Um,
actually kind of nice to be able to be in a sport that is artistic and that is
yeah,
kind of ambiguous because we don't have to particularly apply ourselves or succumb to that like pressure of being super masculine or super you know
or maybe
most
some people that was interesting that they were pushing that toxic masculinity on
hmm
ice, like
hmm
that. I think
like
maybe
Pushenko
some skaters they try to push that part, whether they're
hmm
straight or not. And I feel it's a barrier
Mm-hmm.
for the expression because
Mm-hmm.
skating, beside the sport, an art, and I
Absolutely.
feel that even though we think it's very open, there is a lot more to do. But of course, I'm very grateful for skating to be my safe space. I will always say I did also change. I moved from a small town to the center of Madrid to the Sport National Center, and that changed my life too for good.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's kind of funny what you were saying too as well, of course.
Yeah.
But talking about drag, I was thinking, could we make a little, like, could you show us around what you have in the
Mm-hmm.
room and even
Absolutely.
make a little challenge, maybe?
A
Let's go
little
ahead.
challenge. Oh my goodness. Okay, so let me flip the camera so it'll just be easier for
Yeah.
me. So I'm here at my makeup station. This is my
Wow, you
makeup
have everything
counter.
there set up. That's
Yeah, we have everything set up. It's a little messy because of my powders, but I'll go ahead and show you like my closet. This is one rack of clothes that I have, and this is the other rack. Just a lot of really crazy um, organzas and flowy things that dance
yeah,
around. I'm a big dance queen, so anything that has movement or fringe like this, and can kind of like
yeah.
move with me, that helps me a lot. This one's one of my favorites I just got. She's like very disco.
Wow, that's fun. Yeah,
It's a little insane. And then it's easiest if you just put the wigs up because they're so big. So I have all of these wigs that are
that
on
is so
top.
cool.
I know. And then the unstyled ones you just hang on the wall like this and they kind of do okay. I'm
Ah,
I'm just wearing shorts. These are my shoes, just a few of my
oh my
shoes.
god, that's
I
crazy.
know. They're just kind of on
And you
the
have white
rack.
skates for drag,
I
right?
do have white
I
skates.
saw
These I
that.
use mostly just for photo shoots. They're Resports. I'm pretty sure. They're like a really nice pair. Oh, they're Rydell's. I'm sorry,
Right,
they're
yeah.
Rydell's. They're a really nice pair of skates, and I found them at a costume shop for $20.
Oh
And
wow,
they're just my size too.
that's
So
perfect.
yeah, I have roller skates that I use as well, and pick skates. The pick skates are not in here right now. But this rack is mostly just like knickknacks and rhinestones and
So you have
anything.
a whole room. Like, how long you been doing drag to be able to get to this point?
How long?
Yeah.
I've been doing drag for uh, just over 2 years. Honestly, not that long. I kind of just dove into it. I told myself if I was going to commit myself to doing drag, that I was really going to
You
do
were
it.
gonna do it fully, yeah.
I was going to really like take it seriously, and I think because of that reason, I've gotten a lot more opportunities than other girls in the city just because I work hard and I treat it like a sport. I treat it like, you're training and
Yeah.
you put your everything into it and you dedicate like a big part of yourself financially and
Like,
mentally
which is,
and
yeah, I guess that's
um,
so expensive. Like, all the, oh my gosh, like,
like
girl.
a huge portion of my coaching and everything like that goes right back into it. And it's one of those things that like it's so expensive, it's
When
so
you
hard.
have the passion, yeah.
You have to love it. You really have to love it if you're going to commit yourself to it. And I do. I really just love it. Like, and what I mean by what I said earlier, that like, skating is one of the gay sports or whatever, like it's just so close to something like this in a sense of a performative art
Art,
and in a sense
yes.
of a training like a sport. You have to train the muscles of your hand for makeup. You have to train your body for dancing and performing just like that. You
Yeah,
have
because you
to
guys are like very like competitive as well. It's like you're
absolutely.
training for it.
Well,
That's
the
cool.
Chicago scene is really, really, really good. So if you are good, they'll accept you and they'll support you, they'll lift you up. But they're also very, very political and they're very fierce and they are super, super strong with what they believe in. I don't know if you watch the show, if you watch RuPaul's Drag Race.
Yeah,
Of
I follow
course.
a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Um, historically Chicago girls that have gone on the show have gone on and gotten the villain role, which is kind of the role of somebody that's not afraid to speak their mind, someone that's loud
Mhm.
and strong, and that's how it is here. It's the reality. Like girls here, they'll really fight for what they believe in, fight for Black lives, fight for
Yeah.
LGBTQ advocacy. global health, everything that's going on right now. Like drag queens, when you accept being a drag queen, you also accept being a leader and being um, a voice for the LGBTQ community, because they tend to take these positions of pillars of strength within the community. And so it's important. You have to know and you have to keep yourself educated as well.
That is very interesting. Yeah, for sure. It's a whole world that even that I know a little bit, I still need to learn more, and I'm very fascinated about it.
There's
Yeah,
so much. Yeah, it's
it's
crazy.
so cool.
It is
Yeah.
cool.
So you may try to get into RuPaul sometime.
We'll see. I auditioned this year and I had a lot of fun with it. It's a really hard audition. You have to do
Yeah.
like a million things.
Okay.
Um, but it would be a dream come true. It's just, I think right now productions have all stopped in LA because of the pandemic. And so they might just be delaying things. But I'm very good friends with the daughters of Shea Coulee. Shea Coulee
Okay.
right now, she's one of the queens that's on the current season on All Stars 5. And they're just kind of like my sisters in drag. So Bambi Banks, Coulee, and Chloe. And
That is so cool.
yeah, it's a lot of fun. So
Yeah.
it's a good community.
So could we use this last time we have to do something like boom, a challenge,
Boom.
something special?
Sure. I love that idea.
Like the typical thing, you do this with your hand and there you
Oh
are.
my goodness.
But I mean, going through the steps, so you actually take us through what you actually do.
Okay. I'll just kind of like, I'll take you through it. I'm not gonna.
You have like 10 minutes, if
Okay.
that's
Because I would say otherwise, if we had 3 hours, then I could show you exactly what we were doing.
I mean, of course, try
Because
your
that's
best
about how
with
long
10
it takes.
minutes.
Okay, well, first things first, I would sit right down right here. I would tie
Yeah.
my hair back or get it into like a wig cap. These are like, theatrical wig caps. You put these on.
Okay. To
And
cover
then
your hair
to
fully.
cover my hair and get that out of the way.
Some of them you shave some of this.
Some of them, yeah, some of them
Yes.
shave their
They,
eyebrows and
yeah.
stuff. I don't like to do that because I like my eyebrows a lot.
Yeah.
But the first thing you use is Elmer's glue. Elmer's glue is always the first thing. It's a
Glue.
glue stick, and it's the disappearing purple kind. And
Okay.
what you do is you cover your eyebrows with the glue, and then you brush them up with like a comb of some sort or whatnot, and you get them basically like this. Like, your eyebrows, they go in this direction. You basically paste them flat to your head. Then you powder them. So you use some powder here, and you really just want to make these like as flat as possible. You do that process 3 times, and then you go in with whatever your base foundation is. This is a TV paint stick, is what it's called, and it is like the heaviest, highest full coverage foundation.
Wow.
So basically, what that means is it will cover being a
Makes
man. So it'll cover everything. So then you put that over your eyebrows, and they're gone. And they're just you look like an alien. You're just like, "Meh." It's like it's one of my favorite parts because
Yeah.
you're eyebrowless. But then you don't have to shave them off. Yes, okay, you have to dedicate like 10 to 15 minutes before you do your makeup to that because it's a little time
Yeah.
consuming. But then after you've done that, what I do, at least, I draw my eyebrows on. I sharpen them a bit and I conceal them. And then I go into the whole face. I put foundation everywhere. I blend that out. I do highlights, base, and contour here. I do the whole
Mhm.
thing like Kim Kardashian. And then I set my entire face. Then I go right in with my eyes. I love purples and blues and pinks on me. It just, for people like us with like a little more olive skin tone,
Yes.
like this, pinks and blues and purples show up a lot better than like reds and greens. Reds and greens tend to like fade within
Mm.
our skin tone because our undertones are already a little more like olive and green and things like that.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I'll use those colors. I conceal under that. I cut my crease just like an influencer. And then I finish the wing, put on lashes, put on a lip, some highlight, and then I set my face and I'm done. It sounds very fast, but it takes me about an hour and 40 minutes every time to do my makeup.
That's
And
cool. Well, it's
then,
quite a long time. Yeah.
yeah,
Just for
it's
your makeup.
long. it's so long. It used to take me 3 hours on just my makeup alone, but I've basically cut that in half now. Um, then I go, once my face is set and my lashes are on, I get a wig, and whatever wig is like pre-styled. It matters what I'm doing. If I'm doing like a show where I dance a lot, I might wear an unstyled wig that has a lot more movement that I can kind of whip around and stuff. But
How
this
do
is one
you? The question is, how do you make it to stay?
day,
Because
right? Because like I was skating and I like
yeah,
backflipped and everything like that.
exactly.
So wig security is like a really big deal. And let me tell you what I do for that. So the first thing that I do, I have my wig cap on, right? I put duct tape all around the wig cap and I put it around really tight. So there's this like
With
tight
tape.
duct tape. Yeah, it's just duct tape like really tight to my head.
That's so
And
crazy.
I know. And then I put the wig on top. And then there's this thing called Mastix, which is this, it's this disappearing glue, and it's really, really, really intense. You put it here at the front, and there's lace basically on a lot of nice wigs, and the lace will fuse to your skin, and it'll be pretty strong. It's pretty strong, but what really helps is the tape. Yeah, what really helps is the tape. So once you put the
Yeah.
wig in, then you get these super long bobby pins, like extra long, and you put them all around the back and a little at the side, and then that wig is not going anywhere. It'll just be like
Even with an axle.
even with an axle or a backflip or anything, it'll be attached to you. So that was one thing I really was scared about with the
Yeah.
skating video,
To
because I was
lose your
like,
wig.
that is like the worst, every girl's worst nightmare.
Yeah.
Wig. Yeah. So wig security is a really big deal. So after I've got my wig on, then I get my pads aren't in here right now, but you put your body on. So obviously men are mostly made
With
like this.
which you have the padding.
Uh-huh.
With your like,
Oh yeah.
man,
Uh-huh.
it's
They
really
basically they're like these two foam pieces that kind of look like Africa. Like they're like this. They
yeah.
look like Africa.
Actually, it looks like when you're skating and you don't like you the things the skaters put to not hurt
Yeah, they
their
also wear pads. This is what I mean. Like they're the same things.
yeah.
It's just so funny. Like
Sure.
sparkles and
Yeah.
pads and everything. It's all the same. So I put my pads on. I put like 4 pairs of tights, like dance tights on that match my skin tone. And then that basically fuses the pads to my body. I put duct tape around my waist to kind of cinch me in. So, and then I put on a bra that has like inserts so that like I can make the shape of the breast. So now I went from this to this. You know what I'm saying?
I have a really important question.
Sure. Tell me.
How do you tackle?
How do I tuck? A very important question. So for me, I wear so many pairs of tights that if I just kind of like, we call it like just the monster mash, which is where you just kind of like half tuck. You kind of like just put it in there. I mean, every boy's usually done this before, where they're like young and playing with themselves and they just kind of like put it back.
You do that? Oh my god.
I just do that. I won't do what like Courtney Act does or like Violet Chachki, where they like tape it
Oh my
to.
god, they do that.
They
Oh my
do.
gosh.
What they do is they tape it to their backside practically, so it pulls all of that a little further in. I know, I know.
And the problem is, I'm thinking one thing is on the floor, but if you're skating, I sometimes just regular doing a sit spin
Uh-huh.
did not suffer. So imagine if you're
Uh-huh.
already like that.
Exactly.
Oh my
It's
god.
actually really dangerous. So I don't do that. And like I said, I wear enough tights and I
Yeah,
dance a lot. So I don't really want to feel super uncomfortable. But if you wear enough tights, it won't show. Um, but it is something you have to think about. It's
that is
hard. Like
so
it's part of the
hilarious.
transformation art.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to tape my dick to my leg. That's for sure.
So basically, that's all kind of like the overview.
That's
And
the whole thing. And once my
yeah,
body's on, then I put on a costume and I
yeah.
put on some nails and then I'm ready to
So
go.
if you had to choose your favorite wig, would
Oof.
you be willing to try it on right now for us?
Oh my
And I don't know if
gosh.
you want to get your favorite costume, but maybe that's too much.
I can show
So,
you my favorite wig.
what's your favorite wig?
Okay.
That
Let
you
me.
feel
Do you want
you're
me to put it
truly,
on?
that you feel you're truly the Nali.
You want me to put it on?
Yeah,
I have so many favorite wigs, but this one I'm currently obsessed with. I'm gonna be
I would
right
love it.
back, and I will put it on for you. Just a second. Hold on. Let me get this. First of all, let me get this wig cap
Oh
on.
yeah,
So
at least
you do.
yeah.
Oh my god, you're really out here making me put on wigs. Y'all are getting lucky today. So this lace isn't cut though, but I'm still gonna put her on. Oh my god. Okay, yeah, this lace isn't cut, but right now,
Oh my
this is one of my favorite wigs. It's got this little pom-pom on top,
Oh
and
my god, I love it.
it's braided at the crown. It's definitely one of my favorites.
So it's not just the wig, it's this like also with that. Oh
Yeah,
my,
there's like a little pom-pom on top, and it
it
just
is
happens.
so amazing.
Thank you. So this is that lace I was talking to you about. I
So
haven't worn this
you
wig
put
before.
tape on top of that. It's just oh yeah.
No, isn't it crazy? But usually right before you wear it, you'll cut this lace, and then this is the glue you'll use to fuse it to your forehead. This one's really big and kind of heavy, so it's a little
That
hard.
is so freaking funny.
I know. So I would
I
wear
love
it
it.
for like a photo shoot or something. But
It's so cool.
I know, right?
So this is the oh my god! And then I was watching the one from the picture that is quite long, and the one you sent me
Mm-hmm.
that is blonde as well.
Oh yeah, that one.
That
isn't
is
current-
crazy.
That one I actually sent back to the stylist to redo because
Um,
I love that
you
one so
actually
much.
have to do them personalized.
Yeah, yeah. You want to make sure that they're kind of custom to you.
Yeah,
And I don't do hair. It's a talent. It's a really really tough skill to learn. But I know so many talented people that can do hair, so I just usually pay them to do my hair. And that one I had to send back because I wear it so often that it got really frizzy, and I was like, "Can you
wow.
redo this for me?" Yeah. So that's what we did.
How much is a wig?
So everything in drag is always like $100. Whatever you do, if you think about drag, it's $100. Like everything. So the wig itself is usually around 100, and then a wig styling is around 100. So on average, if you want a nice synthetic wig, and then you get it styled, it's about $200. If you buy a human hair wig is much more expensive. They can be usually up to $300 unstyled. So those ones, I have one human hair wig, but it's not here. It's also getting styled, and those ones are just so expensive because, like I said, that's real hair that either people have donated or
Yeah,
that it's really hard to get, but it moves so much better. It moves a lot more natural, so it's great for dancing and things like
that
that.
is crazy.
Yeah, but it's expensive, and the
And
costumes are
the
expensive.
dress and everything. Yeah.
Everything. Yeah, this is definitely my like favorite dress right now. It's like
I love it.
super shimmery one.
I love
And
it. Yeah.
it's just great for dancing and stuff.
Yeah.
But again, yeah, a couple $100. Everything is always $100.
So we're running out of time. Last minute, but I wanted to say thank you very much for such an amazing chat, going to everything. I love the drag. It was so cool because I have so much interest about it, and it's so much fun. So I hope to like that we can do like an Dragonite show one day together and produce something cool. It will be
I would
so
love
much
to
fun.
put you in drag.
Oh my god.
You would
I
be
gotta
so
try
pretty.
it, but
You would be
I
so
don't know. I need someone to make me go through the right steps to not look
absolutely.
like to make it properly.
You would be so pretty. It's a difficult process, but like
I just need to
we're
shave
yeah,
very
you'd have to
like the
shave.
day before or something.
You'd have to shave, but I think we're like similar skin tones, so I think
That's true. Yeah,
yeah,
that's cool. So if you want to say anything to the people who's watching your beautiful drag hair and you know,
I just thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Javier, for having me. And I'm so happy that SkateProud is existing and that we're finally talking about these things and lifting up LGBTQ athletes within our sport. It's so important. And I really hope that like as we move forward, that just more of this can be accessible for LGBTQ youth, especially in our sport, and that we start talking about it and we start loving on these people because that's what it's all about.
Yeah, that's so great. Well, thank you so much. It was so great to see you, and of course, all the best with your drag show. I hope I can see you in RuPaul.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Javier. Thank